On behalf of the Fellowship Board of Directors, I want to welcome everyone gathered here and online folks, hello. Whether this is your first time here or your 1,000th and first time here, we're delighted that you've joined us. Now, the best way for newcomers to get more information is to sign our virtual guest book, either the QR code on your bulletin or at the welcome table out in the fireside room that you walk through to get into here. So feel free to stick around for coffee and conversation after the service, and online folks too. You have an opportunity for conversation, just stay in the Zoom room. And now for announcements. The fellowship office will be closed this Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. Mark your calendars for a couple of upcoming events. Sunday, December 7th, is our holiday pageant for all ages. Join us for a pop-up retelling of the Nativity. And on Sunday, December 14th, we'll have a carol service at 10, followed by our annual meeting at 11. And lastly, it's Book Talk Sunday again. Join us in the library after the service to talk about what you're currently reading or dive into our monthly discussion topic. There won't be a book talk in December, so this month we'll explore November and December themes of nurturing gratitude and choosing hope in the books that we've read. So come and check us out. Thanks for joining us today.
We gather this morning in a season of gratitude, not the shallow kind that settles for comfort, but a gratitude that opens our eyes to the web of relationship that sustains our lives. For every meal we have ever shared, there were hands we may never know, hands that turned soil, planted seeds, and carried water, worked under sun and under strain, hands that even now make this moment possible, here in this sanctuary. We pause not only to give thanks, but to awaken to belonging, to remember that what we receive is never ours alone, and that gratitude can be the first stirring of responsibility, tenderness, and care. Come, let us enter this time together with humility, with wonder, and with hearts open to the truth of how deeply our lives are held.
We're going to light our chalice now. The words are up here on the screen, and please let's say them together. We light our chalice in the spirit of gratitude. Fierce and loving, we share a commitment to meet this moment of existential crisis together. And now we're going to sing together For the Beauty of the Earth, and you'll see the words up on the screen.
Beauty
Today, I and others brought cornbread and cider, and we're going to be sharing those later. But first, I'd like to invite us all into a moment of noticing together. Whose hands do you think helped bring these to us? Feel free to say it out loud, just a short word or phrase.
Dana.
Farm laborer, Dana. Who else? The growers. Your dad. The chickens and the bakers. Gardeners. Tractors. Pollinators. Good one. Bakers. Soil truckers. The folks. Potatoes. Maybe. Now I want potatoes. So the people who baked, and the people who poured, and the people who delivered, and the people who harvested, the people who planted, and those who care for the land. They're real people with real hands and real care. And I wonder how different it would feel if, when we eat and celebrate together, we remember that real people helped make it possible. So later, when we taste this cornbread and cider, I invite you to hold gratitude, not just for the food, but for the hands, because things that are sacred and things that are delicious never arrive here alone.
We will now have our offertory. This morning, half of our non-pledge offering will be donated to the Impact Community Action Partnership. This was selected by our K-8 children. This is an organization that helps Central Iowa families who are struggling to pay for basic things like heat, electricity, winter coats, mittens, and diapers. In these uncertain times, some families might lose their food stamps or won't be able to afford a big heating bill this winter. And Impact is the organization that helps fill the gap. This is the last week that we'll be contributing to this organization, since next week is the last Sunday in November. The other half of the offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make this a place of community, spiritual growth, love, and justice. We'll pass the baskets here in Fellowship Hall, but if you are at home, online, or here with a cell phone, you can go to uufames.org/give to make your contribution today. And if you're here visiting today, please know that your presence here is gift enough. It's now time for our joys and announcements. And since we do have a big holiday coming up this week, I thought I'd remind you that we're all familiar with the historical, romanticized 3-day feast of the Native Americans and the British settlers at Plymouth in 1621. However, Thanksgiving was not established as an official holiday until 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln felt the pressing need for the declaration of a national day of Thanksgiving, and his purpose was to remind the Americans of the facing imminent Civil War. He wanted to remind all the citizens and to retain peace among the states and relive the golden past of harvest and harmony all over again. So hopefully we remember Lincoln's intentions on what Thanksgiving was all about as we do different celebrations this week. At this time, if there are people that you know of, that you are aware of, that you would like to hold up by name for a joy or a concern or a sorrow, this is the time to go ahead and say their name out loud now. Let us sing together. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shade of justice. Roots boldly close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Would you like to play the gathering music now? Okay. Craig, we're glad you made it.
When we talk about gratitude, we're often taught to focus on what we have, the blessings we receive, or the parts of life that are going well. And this morning, I want to widen that view and invite us to consider where those blessings come from and whose lives make them possible. There was once a woman named Maria Moreno. She was a Mexican-American farm worker in California in the 1950s. She and her husband and 12 children traveled from crop to crop. Lettuce, almonds, grapes, tomatoes. They helped harvest it all, living in cars and tents, earning barely enough to get by. Some of the food she harvested, she couldn't afford to feed her own children. In 1958, a huge flood in Woodlake, California, left thousands of farm workers hungry and without work. Maria went to the local social services office asking for food for her children and was denied. Not because she wasn't in need, but because migrant farm workers were not considered eligible for government help. They were treated as temporary and disposable and not as members of the community. She later said that was the moment something changed in her, that her gratitude for life and faith in human dignity could no longer survive if she stayed silent. Moreno used her voice to fight and convince relief agencies to offer assistance to the starving farm workers. She would eventually become the first woman to ever hired as a union organizer for farm workers in America. Before Cesar Chavez, before Dolores Huerta, she paved the way for both of them. But she did not begin as a leader. She began as a mother who was tired of her children being hungry. And I want to say clearly, this story is not only the past and not only California. The people who harvest our food, including right here in Iowa today, still struggle to feed their own families. And I invite you to take a moment. Turn to someone near you and finish this sentence. Someone I'm grateful for, whose work I don't always see, is. So you may be naming someone who grows food. You might be naming someone who cooks, who cleans, who repairs, who transports, who cares, who delivers. And thank you for honoring that person out loud. There is power and there is justice in the noticing. At this point in our service, we want to pause and hold not just the idea of labor, but the reality of it as it exists right now, not only in history, but in our own lives and in our own communities. So this morning we've invited Sam Osee, a member of this congregation who works directly with the land. We've asked Sam to share what he wishes people understood about where our food comes from and what it takes to bring it from the land to our tables. Sam?
Sorry, got to get the iPad pointed in the right direction here. So the year is winding down on our farm. The harvest is complete, the crop is in the bins, and now we're preparing our fields and planning for next year. This is not a beautiful season. Unlike late spring when the fields are first starting to show rows of new green life, with the exception of a few cover crops, there's nothing green in the fields now. It's mostly just brown, gray, or black, and the crews that are hastily applying manure to the fields add that special aroma that many Iowans associate with late fall. We have to look a little bit deeper to find the beauty. How many of you in this room have ever experienced the joy of eating a meal composed mostly of things that you grew yourself? That's great. So I don't have to convince you that whether it's large scale or small scale, there is a special satisfaction that comes from planting a seed and caring for it, watching it grow through the sun and the rain, and finally choosing just the right moment to harvest it. Raising livestock can have a similar satisfaction, although killing a living creature pulls at the unhardened heart a little bit differently than just plucking a vegetable. So I'm grateful to the plants and animals whose lives begin and end for our benefit. Farming these days looks wildly different than it did when my great-great-grandfather left his farm in Norway and started farming in central Iowa. As the Industrial Revolution changed life for everyone, farms grew from subsistence to industrial scale operations. The era of year-round back-breaking labor is thankfully over, unless you're a dairy farmer or a migrant worker. My planting and harvesting is now performed largely in air-conditioned comfort, with GPS-guided computerized equipment planting rows straighter and harvesting them faster than my ancestors would ever have dreamed possible. Well, I listen to audiobooks or sing along with the radio. The advances in seed genetics, soil analysis, pest protections let me produce 5 or 6 times as much corn on an acre of land compared to my great-grandfather 100 years ago. So I'm grateful to modern science, to good tools, and to well-designed equipment. But it's a bit awkward when people thank me for growing their food, though, because I generally don't actually grow food. Most of what I grow is dry corn and soybeans, just like most of the rest of the farms in Iowa. And these are better understood as industrial feedstocks rather than as food, because vanishingly little of the corn and soybeans grown in Iowa is eaten by humans. More than half the corn goes to produce ethanol, and not the fun sort that livens up your uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. Most of the rest is fed to livestock, eventually becoming bacon and McNuggets, but not to humans directly. I feel some envy for those farmers who can take their crops and enjoy them fresh before they ever leave the field. So I'm grateful for my family's garden and our sweet corn patch, which lets us actually taste the fruits of our labor. I'm grateful for when I have the chance to share some of that with you all. And I'm grateful for others in this fellowship who share the bounty of their gardens and their fruit trees, their plant cuttings, their seeds with all of us. While Iowa produces mostly corn and soybeans, that isn't true everywhere, of course. There are places where the labor markets and the growing seasons are better suited to producing the foods that make up most of our diet. We then have the infrastructure to move those foods across the world in time for me to enjoy fresh pineapple in the dead of winter. So I'm grateful to our modern food system, which enables us to enjoy foods that our ancestors could only dream of. And I'm grateful for the farmers elsewhere in the world that produce pecans and cranberries and pie spices, potatoes, green beans, and even turkeys. But there's always a cost, and it's not always one worth paying if we were given the choice. There's costs to the community, to the people who were here before us, to the air and the water and the soil and the ecology and the whole rest of the world. Today is perhaps not the day to enumerate all of the problems that exist within our modern agricultural and food systems, but we can't forget that they exist. So I'm grateful to the people who push our farming system to do better, to take better care of our soil and our water, to be more respectful to our farm workers, more humane to livestock, and less destructive to wildlife. I'm especially grateful to those who work in changing the legal structure in which we work and live, to better align our laws and markets and other incentives with the public good. And I'm grateful to those in this fellowship who are part of that noble work. At the core, though, I'm grateful for this place where I am privileged to live, where the combined blessings of the gods of geology, climatology, and ecology have created such a marvelous environment for growing things.
Thank you, Sam. And thank you and your family for all the contributions you make during the growing season. The sweet corn is really good, so you'll want to make sure to get some next summer. Before we move into our final reflection, I want to invite us into a very simple moment of embodied gratitude for our place in this web of connection. If you're willing, hold your hands out in front. Just nothing straining. You don't have to have it straight or anything. Just your hands, palms up. And take a breath. And notice the weight, the warmth, and the aliveness of your hands. These are hands that have prepared food hands that have received care, hands that may be tired or strong or healing. Just for a moment, honor what your hands know about giving and receiving. Thank you. As we return to the story of Maria Moreno, it matters to say that her organizing was not driven by bitterness or ambition. It was rooted in faith and in a gratitude that believed every human life was sacred. So when she was denied food assistance, not because she wasn't in need, but because migrant farm workers were considered disposable, her gratitude did not tell her to accept suffering quietly. It told her to refuse to let anyone's children be forgotten. She became the first woman ever hired as a farm worker union organizer in the United States. And when she later lost that position, not because she gave up, but because she was too honest about the injustices that she saw, she kept going anyway, unpaid, undeterred, calling people back to their own dignity, their own belonging. Her gratitude was not sentimental. It was courage with love at the center. And so, as we prepare to break bread together, we are invited into that same kind of gratitude. Not simply thankfulness for what we receive, but a way of seeing, a way of honoring the lives, the hands, the sacred connections that make this moment possible. So we're now going to sing Come, Come Wherever You Are, and it's a round. And we're going to sing it twice. So, 3 groups, like maybe from Ralph over is group 1. Raise your hand, Ralph. So this is group 1. And from David, raise your hand, David, over to, let's see, Shawnee. That's group 2. And then on this side is group 3. You got it? So I will key you, hopefully, when you're going to come in, and we're going to do it 3 times. Now, 2 times. We're doing it 2 times. So Craig's going to give us a little introduction, and then this group will start. And you'll see the words up here. Or here.
Could go crazy. Don't leave me, Karen. I need you.
Oh, yeah.
For as long as people have gathered in community, they have broken bread together, to remember that life is shared, that nothing we have is ours alone, and that we belong to one another.
And so we enter this moment not as consumers, but as people in relationship with the land, with the workers who plant and harvest, with hands we may never know, whose labor has made this meal possible.
In a moment, we'll invite you to come forward using the side aisles and make 2 lines, one on each side of the sanctuary. You'll receive your cornbread and cider here at the communion table and then return to your seats using the center aisle. Hold your bread in your cup when you get to your seat. Don't eat or drink yet. We'll do that together after we've all got our cornbread and cider. You guys would like to play us into that? Thank you. This cornbread and this cider carry the memory of soil, sunlight, and rain, and of human hands. Hands that prepared and harvested and delivered and pressed and baked, each one an act of care that ripples forward to us now.
And as you prepare or share food later this week in your own kitchens or around any table, may you remember that every ingredient has taken a long journey and has been touched by lives beyond your own. May that remembering become a kind of prayer.
As we receive this bread, may it be more than nourishment. May it be awareness. May it be gratitude that opens us more fully to the sacred web of interdependence we share with all of life. Let us eat now together.
And as we lift up the cup, may we taste not only sweetness, but our connection to every person and every living thing that sustains us, seen and unseen. Let us drink and continue eating together now.
In the shared bread and cup, may we remember that we are sustained not in isolation, but in relationship to one another, to the earth, to all whose labor makes life possible. And when you're willing and able, and you've drank the last of your juice, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we join our voices in song. We'll sing. We sing now together.
But go ahead and finish eating.
Ready to go.
You ready?
Ben's ready to go.
Song of
We're going to extinguish the chalice now as we read these words together. We extinguish this flame, not the light of love, one of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
With deep gratitude, we thank Karen, Sarah, Sam, and our tech team, Deborah and Donald, all who prepared this space, and our string quartet for this gifts this morning. Yes. And to all the bakers, thank you to all the bakers who shared their gifts of cornbread this morning. May we go in gratitude and awareness, awake to the hands and the earth that sustain us, and ready to be a blessing in return. And now please enjoy our final music offering from the string quartet.